Jabirian Taquin servants, from diminutive homunculi to the mighty brazen bulls, are the crowning achievement of the alchemists of the Jabirian House of Wisdom. Within the Sultanate, they serve the great and the powerful in various roles, from alchemical assistant and manual labour that can operate in the extremes of heat or cold, or in polluted and noxious spaces, all the way to the living war machines that accompany the warriors of the Sultan on the battlefield. As the alchemist's abilities grow, they work on shaping their Taquin creation into new and more potent forms. For unlike naturally born creatures, the alchemist can mold their flesh and organs as a potter molds fresh clay. Each homunculus is a handcrafted masterpiece of its creation, and reflects the personality and artistic flair of its creator. They will also be directly representative of the power of their creator. They are often richly decorated with amulets, jewelry, or precious metals, or painted with a henna dye that never fades. Much of what the world considers to be modern alchemical practices of the Iron Sultanate are built on the foundations of brilliant minds like Jabir ibn Hayyan, who developed the guiding principles and institutional methods that have allowed Jabirian Taquin servants to push the science of alchemy forward in ways that could never have been predicted, primarily with the discovery of homunculi creation itself. The process of this creation is long and complex, and the secrets of it guarded closely by the House of Wisdom, and only ever made known to those who are skilled and learned enough to attempt the act of creation as part of their test to become an alchemist. Failure often means death, and punishment for revealing the secrets of the House of Wisdom is worse, so the methods of homunculi creation is largely a secret that keeps itself. To begin the process, the budding alchemist must start with the fluids of life. This means blood from the heart, bile from the belly, the fluid that emerges from between the backbone and the ribs, saliva from the mouth, and fluid from the spine. Experiments have been done that have included the aqueous and vitreous humour of the eyes, blood from the kidney, liver and spleen, as well as juices from the deep intestines, but these were not found to have a positive impact on the resultant homunculus. The bodily fluids are individually placed in blessed wax containers, mixed with a multitude of powders derived from flora, fauna, and mineral, and then sealed. Each one is prayed over for 7 days and 7 nights before being placed in a strange mold in the form of a human. The metal used to craft this mold is the same as that which makes up the iron wall, and the form itself is vague, sexless, and without facial feature. This form is then placed in a giant furnace, but no fuel, bellows, or any other equipment is brought forth. Instead, the alchemist must balance the forces of all creation to generate the heat, wind, and pressure needed, all while delicately feeding life forces and the elements that constitute physical existence into the form itself. While doing so, alchemists will imbibe carefully balanced and prepared potions and drugs that they have worked on previously. It is vital for the alchemists to be able to open their minds fully wide to the absolute truth of existence while undergoing this act of creation. This part of the process claims more young student alchemists' lives than any other, and is seen as the main hurdle in their attempt to finish their path to mastering alchemy. The strain placed on their minds and bodies is immense. The sheer volatility of the process has been known to cause the suits of armour that assist them in controlling the forces of creation to crack and crumble. At this point, the half-formed homunculus will crawl from the mould, tearing the alchemist apart and climbing inside their body in a sick simulacra of the process of life. Experienced alchemists cannot intervene to save the life of a student, only with their death when the howling forces within the chamber subside, allowing the veterans to enter and destroy the corrupted and failed homunculus once and for all. Those who manage to balance all the powerful forces at play and safely produce their homunculus will find themselves with the ultimate servant and a highly sought after resource within the Iron Sultanate. As the Iron Sultanate itself is a closed nation where only carefully selected traders, merchants, and scholars are allowed to visit, mercenaries and allies are a rare sight in the army of the Sultan. Instead, the Tarquin creations of the alchemists allow the soldiers of the Prophet to create specialist artificial warriors to fill in the gaps in their arsenal. The fate of these creatures is often miserable. The intelligence that they require to operate on the battlefield also makes them aware of their horrific existence outside of the natural order, forced by the power of the Seal of Solomon to fight and fall in battle in thousands of agonizing ways, only to be raised again and shaped into ever more unnatural form to suit the needs of their masters. Homunculi are almost impossible to kill, with only the alchemists themselves truly knowing which thread of existence to pull to cause their creations to unravel. Devoid of organs, they can take tremendous damage before they fall, and can then be raised up again by the alchemist when given enough time to perform their resurrective rites. Over the course of the centuries of the Trench Crusade, the House of Wisdom has experimented with all manner of forms for their creations, stretching them far beyond the semblance of humanity that they originally possessed when emerging from the creative process. Some have had their arms heavily twisted and contorted, drawn out into wings, the muscles of their chests and backs sickeningly increased to generate the power necessary for them to fly. Others will be given alchemical formulas that cause them to become larger or stronger, better able to fight the large creatures and machines of war at Hell's disposal. Some have been given more arms and multiple heads, turned into walking weapons platforms capable of carrying and firing multiple weapons at the same time. There are tales of one alchemist finding a way to make his homunculus possess hypnotic eyes, and any heretic that met its gaze became enraptured, barely able to bring themselves to harm it or fight back from its murderous intentions. No matter their form, and be they used on the battlefield or deep within the sprawling labs of the House of Wisdom, the fate of homunculi is truly one to be pitied. Little more than tools and playthings for their masters, they will have their bones stretched or shortened, their musculature torn and restitched, and every aspect of their being changed and altered upon the whims of another. While no true life that was born of the union of a mother and father, they still possess enough intelligence to carry out the tasks assigned to them by others, and are more than aware of their own suffering. Due to the disturbing nature of their origins, they are simply stripped of the will to change it, and they will live and die 1,000 times until eventually their master succumbs to their own final death, freeing them at last.